Hello friends. Well, at our last track day at Winton, the front right wheel bearing started to scream on the Nugget. I told it to shut up and I did another 2 sessions, but I think it's about time we change it. The car's 20 years old, that wheel bearing's done about 30,000 odd K, and I don't think it was ever designed to do what it's doing. So, in today's episode of Nugget Project, we put a new wheel bearing in the Nug. So as much as I love this car, it is an old, cheap design. So it's actually very easy to work on. But one thing that really gives me the irrits is changing out the brake discs. I'll show you this in a minute. But on a normal car, well, on a modern car, I should say, basically take the wheel off, pop the brake caliper off, slide the disc off. With these, you need to take the hub off and you need to push the bearing and the disc out. It's a right pain in the neck. I've done it before, but what I did, basically I didn't have the right tools, so I just used the drift, basically whacked it with a hammer and I got it out, but it's not a nice way to do it. So, during Boxing Day sales, I went online and I found this puppy. So this is a 10-ton shop press. I've been looking at these, I've been looking at the cheapo, super cheap auto one, which is about $280 and doesn't come with these plates, and it's a 6-ton press. So I was kind of going to do that, and then I found this online in the sales with delivery for 159 bucks with the plates. So, and it's a 10-ton press. So I thought, why the hell not? So now I've got this puppy, and it's going to make life a lot easier for not only doing this, but also doing bushes and things like that. If you guys saw the episode where I did the bushes on this car, I did a hack job because I didn't have something like this. Now it's going to be a lot easier. So first thing we need to do, mighty car mod style, is jack up our car. Okay, so first thing we need to do is remove the big nut that holds our drive shaft on. Now this is probably actually easier. Some wheels don't allow you to. Mine, I think, has a big enough hole where I could have done it with the wheel on. That would have been much, much easier. But I didn't. So I'll probably have to get someone to hold the brakes on for me, or we can jam these studs and stop them moving with the wheel nut on so we don't damage the threads. And then we pretty much just undo our bolts that hold our strut on. I think there's a bolt underneath it. Oh, there's a bolt there for the bottom of the hub, and then just our control arm. So let's get going. So getting this undone is pretty easy. The two that are a bit difficult are the control arm from the steering rack. So this is actually tapered and wedges in here, and what you need to do is get a bar under here, put some pressure on it, and give it a whack here to shock it out. And same with the bottom one. So that's the tapered thread there. You need to get a bar under the swinging arm, put some pressure on it, and then give that, we'll try and show you, that bit there a whack. It'll loosen up. This is much easier done with 2 people. My old man gave me a hand to whack it with a hammer. Now that's off, we'll pull it all apart and we'll have a look at our bearing. I doubt you guys are going to be able to hear this. Let's try. Whoa. Clunk, 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 clunk. That is a shagged wheel bearing. Cool, so now we're using our new shop press from China, so everything's a little bit wonky, but it was cheap. So what we've got is we've unbolted the disc, and the disc will sit up against the casting here, and we want to get this hub out. So we've found a socket that's exactly the right size for inside, and we're going to push down on this and hopefully it'll push it out. Right. Perfect. Well, that's easier than a hammer.
Oh yes.
Quick fix. Release our Duvalaki. Nice. Cool. One shagged bearing. Okay, so to get this bearing off, you need some sort of puller like this. Luckily, Dad's got half a race team in the shed, so we've got this old puller from Honda, which is awesome. We're trying not to damage the seal because unfortunately I don't have spare seals for this because I'm an idiot. But we're just trying to pull this bearing off the shaft. So you do this up and it slots in under the bearing. Then you put a bar or something across here, like we've got here, push down and that'll pull the bearing off with any luck. As it sounded. Cool. So now we're going to knock the bearing races. Whoa, the bearing races out, which is a bit of a drift and a whack both sides. We got the original seal out without damaging it, which is great. So we'll give all this a clean up. Put some fresh bearings in there. It's coming out.
Okay, just lifted it.
Not too bad considering this has been in the car for 20 years. That's kind of down on its thing. Okay, everything is apart and clean. The seals are still good. So we just scrub everything up. We've got our brand new bearings. So these are outer races and there are bearings there ready to go in, so we'll put the races in first and then go from there. So we've got our races in there, and now we've got our bearings, and we need to pack them with grease. Luckily, we have our Redline CV2, which is CV joint, but it's also wheel bearing grease. So this is their high performance grease for racing and all that sort of stuff. So that's awesome, we get to use that. So we're gonna pack that into the bearings now, and then we'll pop the bearing in there. Okay, bearings all packed. And putting our seal back in. Solid, aren't they? Hey. Let's go on. Cool, so we just press the bearings in, just using a bunch of different spacers and junk. You can buy sets of these from super cheap. For about 60-70 bucks, but we've got a bunch sitting here. So that's all pressed in, all greased up. Now we need to put our seal on, and yeah, we can put it all back together. So seal's in, and this thing is worth its weight in gold. So much better than whacking everything with a hammer. So this assembly now has a new bearing in it, and this is ready to go. We can put that back in the car. Good times. But before we do that, we have another problem, so we're going to fix that while this is out. Cool, so while I've got everything out, the next thing I need to do is my drive shaft seals are leaking. So while I've got this side out, I'm going to do it because our drive shaft's already disconnected. So all we have to do is pull it out, pop the seal out, and then we can refill our gearbox oil. So I've drained the old gearbox oil because it was about due. And we've got our new Redline gearbox oil to put in there, which is exciting. So let's get this sucker out. Okay, so now we need to pop this seal out without damaging anything. We put the new sucker in. I didn't get to film much of this because it's almost impossible to film and do, but basically levered the old one out with a crowbar, trying not to break anything on the inside. Don't put the crowbar all the way in because there is a cast lip there that you can crack. I did chip a bit off it because I'm an idiot. And then just tap the new one in and use a little bit of grease on the seal just to let the seal go in and to let the drive shaft go in. And now we put the drive shaft back in and we can top it back up with oil.
You had it?
Yep. There we go. Okay, so we've got a fresh driver shaft seal in. It's all ready to go. We've got our hub with our new bearings in there. What we'll need to do is just use some brake cleaner just to clean off the disc once it's in there, because we've got grease all over it. Now it's time to put all this in, button it all back up, and that's it. Wheel and everything's back together. Now all we need to do is fill up our gearbox. So the XL takes 2.2 litres, but it's an overflow type, I'm pretty sure. So we've got our refill screw down here, and basically we use a little Tommy pump. Where is he? Little Tom Thumb Tommy pump. And we just put our fresh gearbox oil in there, run the pipe in there, pump, 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 fill it up until it overflows. Let's do it. So the gearbox oil we're putting in obviously is our Redline. So this is their MTL, this is their manual transmission fluid. It's for manual transmissions and for front wheel drive transaxles, which is what we're using here. This is an ester based. If you watch my video on oils, this is the ester based oil. So this is like the highest grade stock oil base you can use, and then they refine it to make it into just pure liquid gold, really. No, seriously, it's good stuff. The Binky guys use it, and a lot of other race teams that really know their stuff use it, so I trust them and I trust Redline. So we'll pop this stuff in and hopefully we get some smoother gear shifts. I don't know if you saw the last video, but I had some crunching in third, but I think that might have been my left leg being lazy more than the gearbox. Anyway, let's pop it in. So there we go, we just got bang on 2.2 litres, and you can see that dripping out now, the overflow. So that means we are full. Put the cap back on, tighten her up, and that's it. All right, between gearbox oil and bearing grease, it's a filthy day. I am covered in stuff, and it's hot, so I'm sweating all the oil properly. But that's us done. So our gearbox is now filled up. We've got our new bearings. We've got a new drive shaft seal on this side. I haven't done this side just because, honestly, I just didn't want to take it apart today, and I'm just trying to get the car ready for another track day we've got coming up. This track day is something a bit different, but I'll tell you guys about that closer to the time. It's going to be quite an exciting one, actually. Everything else in the car is good. I'm going to redo the housing on the 1 gauge just to try and stop those vibrations, and that's something cool I'm going to do too, using some different materials. I'm going to do some strength testing with different materials. And what else are we going to do? Power windows. I've got a power window for this sucker, so we'll put that in. I'll do a video on how to install that. Anyway, for now, guys, thanks for watching. And we will see you. Happy New Year, by the way. Happy New Year. It's the 1st today. I will see you guys soon. Thanks for watching.